he slept through the whole night. Good morning guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you saw my previous video, I talked about how I was going to start sleep training Charlie. If you're new to my channel, then Charlie is my son. He is 7 months old and we started sleep training 4 days ago now, I think. Yeah, today is day 4. And like I promised, I am creating this video to keep you guys updated with how our sleep training is going. First things first, I just want to mention that I am using natural light. And today is just a really random day where it's going like sunny rain. So I apologize if the light keeps changing throughout this video. Just bear with me. I don't have a lot of time before Charlie comes back. So I really want to get this done so that there's not a screaming baby in this video. The things that I want to talk about is the sleep training course that we decided to do. Our first 3 nights of sleep training, what our day routine and our nap schedules look like, and my overall tips when it comes to sleep training. So the course that we decided to go with is the Taking Babies Cara Sleeping course, and I did mention a little bit about this in my previous video, but we decided to go with this course because I did a bunch of research on sleep training. There are so many videos out there about people who have tried the Taking Baby Cara's course. She has a really good Instagram with lots of videos, and I just liked her method. So she kind of follows the firmer method, which is the 5, 10, 15 pop-in method. She focuses on the nights rather than fixing the days and then the night sleeps, and I really like that. I like that she fixes the night sleeps first. That just made sense to me, and I like the 5, 10, 15 pop-ins. There are so many sleep training courses out there, so much help that you can get, and it's really important that you just find one that you like, so just do your research. But if you look into Taking Babies Cara's course, I liked it. The whole format of the course is great. It's videos, it's really simple to follow. They're quick videos, so you're not sitting there for like 3 hours in front of your computer trying to understand what you have to do. It's so simple to follow. And she also has a 2-week money back guarantee, so if your baby is not sleeping through the night in 2 weeks, you can get your money back. You are literally not risking anything to take her course. I think she said she's got a 3% rate that don't end up sleeping through the night, and that's because they have underlying health factors. Not too sure what those could be, but otherwise she has a really high success rate. So that is kind of why we chose that course, and I'm so happy with it. Yeah, I just absolutely loved that course. And like, no, this is not sponsored. Like, I wish. Does she even sponsor videos? I don't know. This is my honest opinion with her course. So talking about my first 3 nights. So today is day 4. We have done 3 nights of sleep training. I have got a bunch of notes here because I literally woke up, wrote down the times, timed on my phone. I really wanted to mention everything about how my nights went so that you can get a good idea. Obviously, you have to keep in mind that every baby is different. Charlie could self-settle. He could self-settle as soon as we put him down to sleep. He just couldn't self-settle after that during the night. So we were like 75% off the way. We just needed him to continue to be able to self-settle. So day 1, we popped him to bed at 7 p.m. We have an amazing nighttime routine. If you want to know roughly what we do, I can pop it down in the question section below, or I can create a whole video on updated nighttime routine. Just let me know if you guys would like that. But we put him down to bed at 7 p.m. He cried, and I was so shocked and so scared. I think it was because it was a new environment. With Taking Cara Babies course, you have to put your baby in their own room. It's just how it works. And so I moved Charlie into his own room, and he cried for like the first time in a very long time. He cried as soon as I put him in his bed. I was so worried. I was like, no, it's not gonna work. Like, what's going on? He hasn't done this for so long. But I'm guessing it's just because it was different smells, maybe just a different environment. So he cried for 5 minutes. I went in, I told him I loved him, it was time for bed. I popped him on his side. He's a side sleeper. And then I walked out. I was in there for a minute. It goes by so fast. You're literally supposed to be in there for like 20 to 30 seconds. I was in there for a minute, guys, and it felt like 5 seconds. Anyway, I popped out. He cried for another 10 minutes. I popped back in. I did the same thing. I just tried to go a bit quicker. I love you. It's time to go to bed. Good night. Walked out. And he cried for another 12 minutes and then finally fell asleep. It was hard. It was really tough, and I started the sleep training so nervous because he hadn't done that in so long. I told myself that I would just stick with it. I just had to keep going. I had to try for 2 weeks. He ended up sleeping all the way until we gave him a dream feed, which was at 10:30. It's really important that you give them dream feeds and that you don't feed them when they cry, otherwise they will associate crying with feeding. So we gave him a dream feed at 10:30. He then only woke up at 12:45, guys. So he slept from like 7:30 to 12:45. That's huge. He then cried for 5 minutes. I popped in, I love you, good night. He cried for 10 minutes. I popped back in, same thing. And then he cried for 9 minutes and went to sleep. So that was already better than the very first time, because if you remember, he cried for 12 minutes and he went to sleep. So here he only cried for 9 minutes and went to sleep. So we were getting better. I also want to mention that the crying got less and less. So like the last 9 minutes, he'd cry, stop, cry, stop, cry, stop. It wasn't like a constant 9-minute cry. He then went all the way till 2:45. He cried for 1 minute and then fell back asleep, and then woke up at 3 o'clock. So he didn't last very long, 15 minutes. He cried for 5 minutes. I popped in. He cried for another 5 minutes and fell asleep. So we were already getting so much better by the third time that he cried. He then had a dream feed at 3:30. He then woke up at 5:30, cried for 3.5 minutes and fell back asleep. I didn't have to pop in, and then we got up for the day at 6:40 a.m. So just looking back at my day one, sorry guys that I'm looking down, I have all my notes down there. He had like 3 proper wake ups, and that is not bad considering that before this we were waking up every half hour to every hour. That's amazing. I was so happy with that. Night number 2, again, we put him down at 7 p.m. He went to sleep without crying. And then guys, he slept through the whole night. He cried a couple times for like a minute maximum and then would go back to sleep. I think he did it maybe 3 times. He had a dream feed at 10:30, at 3:30. We got up for the day at 6:30. Amazing. He slept through the night. I couldn't believe it. So that was day 2 for us. It went super well. And night 3, which was last night, we put him to bed at 7 p.m. again. We did our usual nighttime routine. We gave him a dream feed at 10:30. He did not wake up all the way until 3 a.m. At 3 a.m. he cried for 5 minutes. We popped in, I love you, good night, and then he cried again for another 6 minutes and then fell asleep. One thing that we did in night 3 is we did not touch him. We just said, I love you. He just had to hear our voice. We weren't allowed to touch him. That is part of taking Cara's baby course. Won't go too much more depth into it. That is what we had to do for night 3. So he cried for 6 minutes, went to sleep. He then woke up again at 3:30, cried for 5 minutes. We went in, cried for another 10 minutes and then fell asleep. So that wasn't too good. He only managed to stay down for around half an hour and then started crying again. He then woke up at 5, cried for 4 minutes and then went back down, and then we were up for the day at 6:30. Night 3, he did pretty well. He didn't do as well as night 2, but he did go all the way until 3 a.m. though, which is pretty damn good. And then from 3 to 6, it was a little bit rocky, but I'm still pretty happy with that. Cara did mention that not every night is going to be a good night, and it is going to be kind of like a roller coaster, meaning that you'll have a good night and then a bad night and then a good night and so on. So I didn't expect my nights to be amazing, but I am hoping that they will get better, obviously. Overall, I am honestly so proud of how well he's doing and how like quick he's picked up that he doesn't need to cry now. He can put himself back to sleep, and that is amazing. Alright, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is our nap and our day schedules and kind of what that looks like. With taking Cara's baby course, like I mentioned, you focus on the nights and then you will focus on the day. She does talk about how if a baby learns to sleep at the night, their days are dramatically going to get better. When it comes to his day routine, we are kind of just trying to stick with what we've been doing because we are focusing on his nights, and his nights have become a lot different than what he's used to, so I don't want to do too much in one go and overwhelm him, meaning that during the day we just focus on his awake windows. I will kind of roughly pop up a little schedule here of what his day looks like. But let's say if he was to wake up at 7 a.m, I keep him awake for 2 to 2.5 hours, put him back down for a nap. Same thing again, he's awake for 2.5, 3 hours, back for a nap. He will give me cues when he's tired. I make sure that I listen for those cues and I look out for them. It's so obvious when Charlie's tired, so I just try and put him down. Unless it's only been like an hour and a half, then I will try and keep him up for at least 2 hours. He only cat naps during the day. He'll do a 30-minute nap, sometimes 40 minutes, sometimes he gives me an hour and a half. It's different every day, and I will not try and change him. I let him do whatever he wants during the day. I just focus on his awake window. So that was our schedule right there. I just wanted to talk about that to give you an idea of what our day looks like, so that if you are sleep training, you don't get overwhelmed yourself and you don't try and overwhelm your baby. Just focus on the night. Unless you want to focus on all of his sleeps, his day and his nights, that is totally up to you. We have chosen just to focus on the nights, and then we'll focus on the naps later on. And the last thing that I want to talk about is sleeping tips and a couple of things that I have come across while trying to sleep train Charlie. I do want to mention that sleep training is not easy. It is super hard, but if you think that is what is best for your baby and what is best for your family, then you will be able to get through this. Day one honestly was probably one of the hardest nights for myself. I think I was up staring at the monitor all night, and I do not recommend that. So a couple things that I recommend is keep yourself busy. When you put your baby down to sleep, if he cries for 15 minutes, keep yourself busy. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you to put your monitor away because I'm a mum myself who highly is dependent on her monitor. But you can have the monitor there and keep yourself busy. Put a show on, go on your computer, watch a YouTube video, do something that doesn't make you focus all your energy on this monitor, because it is super hard to watch your baby cry. My second tip is that if you have someone who helps you with the nights, as in your partner or even your mum or a nanny, then you need them to be 100% in this as well as you are. So you might do the first pop-in at 5 minutes, and then the person helping you might do the second pop-in at 10 minutes, and so on. Try not take this on all by yourself if you don't have to. It is super challenging. You're going to be super tired because you have to time every time he wakes up, and it's just new. So if you can get help, I highly recommend getting help. If you're doing this by yourself, then honestly give yourself a clap on the back, because you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing even if someone is helping you. But yeah, just want to point that out, that if you are doing it by yourself, you can still do it. And yeah, just pat on the back there for you. And my last tip that I want to point out is that I do recommend that you note down every time he wakes up on the first night, second night, third night, fourth night, because you will see a huge change, and that is going to give you the boost and the confidence to keep going with your training. I think it's super nice to look back at day one and compare it to day 3 and how well he's doing. It just makes me so proud as his mum. Like, so nice to see that he is able to do this, and we have done the right thing by sleep training him. Alright, there you go guys. That is everything that I wanted to talk about sleep training wise. Like I mentioned, this is night 4. I'm super excited to get into it. I'll keep updating you guys in our regular vlogs until we are done with the Taking Cara's Baby Sleep course. But that was our first 3 nights, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about it. If you are sleep training your baby, you have any questions, anything, pop them down below. I will try my best to answer. As always guys, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, because that really supports my channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!